So, without further ado, we want to bring up the first speaker today while you all, I think, are here. Bobby Murphy, CTO of Snap. Brielle Garcia, an incredible creator, creating Snap lenses. And Lauren Goode from The Wire. They're going to have a fireside chat today about how Snap is reinventing the camera. So welcome them all on stage.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Lauren Goode from Wired, and I'm here with Brielle Garcia and Bobby Murphy. Thanks so much to the both of you for being here for this early bird session. So some of you were probably here yesterday and heard a lot of conversation about the metaverse. So let's start out by talking about the metaverse. I'll toss it to Bobby first. What is the metaverse?
That's a good question. I think to be honest, it's not a term that we've ever used internally or externally to describe what we're doing, and I think part of that is just it's pretty ambiguous, and I think depending on who you ask, we get very different definitions, which I think for us has made it not particularly helpful in helping anyone kind of understand what we're trying to do. What we are trying to build is really towards this AR future. I mean, we're heavily committed to and invested in augmented reality. And for reasons that I think many in the audience will probably agree with, which is we see augmented reality as this amazing technology that allows people to engage with digital experiences, visualize digital experiences in a way that is very aligned to how we as humans naturally see the world, which is we look out, we ask questions about the things that we're looking at, we think about decisions we have to make, we visualize and changes and new possibilities in that world. And I think because of that alignment, AR has become an incredibly actually useful and very, very powerful medium for conveying an idea, for conveying a concept. And we've seen tremendous impact to our own business with augmented reality, where hundreds of millions of people are playing with AR every day to express themselves, communicate with friends. And we've seen a lot of early signal around the usefulness and the practicality of AR for many other use cases. I mean, commerce is a great one that we're investing very heavily in. We have for the last couple of years, where if you take at SPS, our annual Snap Partner Summit this past year, we announced a bunch of capabilities, but one of which was True Size for eyewear, allowing you to very quickly and instantly try on a pair of glasses without having to pre-calibrate, like kind of scan your head, hold up a card for scale. It just works instantly. And I think in using that, you realize pretty quickly, like, not only is this a really impactful way to make a more informed decision about products you may want to purchase, but it's actually way faster than anything that exists today. Faster certainly than going into a store and trying to browse pairs of sunglasses, but also faster than even browsing a website and clicking through product pages. So this like hyper usefulness and hyper practicality makes AR an extremely powerful tool, and I think we're seeing through products like Camera Kit, which allow app developers to bring our full lens technology into their own application experiences, many, many more companies beginning to realize the same thing that we have for several years now, which is that AR is a fantastic way to add a ton of value to any camera-based experience. Companies like Disney are bringing AR into their parks now through Camera Kit. Companies like Samsung even, a first for them, bringing lenses into their native camera for their A series of devices in fun mode. And they're seeing immediate value because they can connect to our platform, our ecosystem, and bring in a ton of hundreds, thousands of lenses into their community very, very quickly.
And I want to ask you, if I may interrupt,
sure,
I kind of want to ask you about that idea that Snap has been doing this for so long, and now there's this kind of like it's codified word to describe it. But first, I want to ask Brielle, when you think of the metaverse as it's been historically, and how it's being presented now, what is it to you?
Short answer, I believe metaverse is the internet. Longer answer is, I think metaverse is kind of this essence that emerges from spatial, social internet experiences. That it's not something we build, that it's rather something that just, this idea that emerges from connected apps and experiences we're building today, like what we have with Snapchat or Minecraft or Roblox, like, it's metaverse, like it's here, it's now. Yeah, that's just kind of my philosophy on.
So it already exists.
Yes.
In your mind.
In my mind, it's here, we're building it. Yeah.
And so when you hear technologists and innovators, and as I like to call it, prognosticators say it's the successor to the mobile internet now, what does that successorship look like then, if we're already sort of living in some version of the metaverse?
I think it's something we'll see emerge just over time. The internet is still the internet that we had in the 90s, but it has emerged over time, and we've had several successions emerge. And I think we're seeing it now. We're seeing more immersive experiences and more socially connected experiences. And I don't think it's going to be a moment where we suddenly are like, now it's the metaverse. It's going to just emerge.
I like that. The metaverse not as a moment,
Mm-hmm.
but as a gradual experience. So Bobby, I mean, Snap has been making AR lenses for a very long time, several years, as you mentioned. And you were doing this even before there were these software frameworks like AR Core and AR Kit on the biggest mobile platforms. You had your own in-house technology providing these like really, really cool AR filters in the mobile app. And now lots of people are jumping on board.
Yeah.
And we do have, one of the biggest tech companies in the world, Facebook, coming out and sort of staking this land grab around it and saying, the metaverse, the metaverse. How does that feel for you as a technologist who really was very early to some of these technologies?
Yeah, I mean, we're able to innovate based on what we see in our kind of growing community. I mean, as I was kind of describing, I think that we're seeing a very rapid expansion of value that AR is driving for many, many businesses now, where such that, like, I think if you are any company and you have any consumer-facing camera experience, that experience, when connected to AR, will be more valuable, more useful than if not. And that, in turn, is actually creating tremendous distribution opportunity for our lens creators. So for us, it's less about, I don't know, defining some like 10, 20-year thing. It's like we are seeing really tangible value today in mobile AR. And probably for the next several years, we'll see a very rapid expansion, proliferation of augmented reality across many, many companies, really changing the way consumers are capable of engaging with their favorite brands and with experiences. And I think that momentum is really what is inspiring a lot of the work that we do.
Do you agree with the joke that Snap is often Facebook's chief product officer?
Yeah, and some of the things that they've done haven't quite been super inspired. I think, like I said, we're focused on really innovating around what we see in our community.
Okay, so not entirely a joke. That's what I'm getting from that.
Funny.
So maybe we should actually show the audience some of Brielle's work, because I think one of the apps in particular that we have here is a really cool demonstration of what could be done through, you've got the glasses on, the spectacle, AR spectacles, what can be done and built through them. And I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see that right now, but we can continue to talk through it maybe while they tee it up back there. Describe first what the app is. You have many apps. And everyone should go check out Brielle's webpage and see some of these examples. I really liked, there was a Game Boy one that was really cool. There was also one, 3D Stonks.
Yes.
Very relevant today, Stonks. Tell us a little bit about this menu app that you've created, or lens, I should call it, lens.
So when I got the spectacles, my mind was just racing with so many ideas of what I could do, and I have just been slowly working down that list of ideas. This one came to me. I was out to breakfast with family for the first time in like a year, and we were sitting down, and I noticed like all the menus had QR codes now, or they had QR codes to get the menu. Mm-hmm. And I had the spectacles on me at the time, and I was like, wouldn't this be really cool? Like if I could scan this with the spectacles, and then the menu are the meals. And I immediately went home and like got some food scans and made some scans and started putting together this proof of concept of what it would feel like. And as soon as I saw like the food sitting there in front of me, I was like, this is a game changer. Like this is a big deal. And my parents were visiting, and I was like, Dad, come look at this. And I put him on him, and he said, wow, like I never want to use another menu again. He was like, this is amazing. And he could use it immediately. And I was like, there's so much value here, and there's so much promise with the technology.
And as you were envisioning that, were you envisioning it just for the glasses?
Well,
I mean, because presumably your whole family, it'd be cool to think of your whole family sitting there with these awesome glasses on, but like...
A lot of the experiments with spectacles, I've been thinking about, like, what does hands-free stereoscopic enable? And like, you can do the experience on mobile, and it's great and compelling, but there is something just magical about when it's a hologram in front of you, and it physically looks like it's sitting on the table in front of you. It kind of changes your dynamic of, oh, what do I want to eat? And as you're swiping through, it's like, oh, well, this actually looks really good. I wasn't thinking I wanted sushi, but this sushi looks really good. And it was a lot of interesting things that emerged out of the experiments. But a lot of the work I've done with spectacles is thinking about just when you have your hands free and it has depth, what can that enable?
There's a lot of conversation, I think, about what is the real world and the digital world right now, and how it's like a one or the other thing, but what you're actually describing through a Snapchat lens, a snap lens, is this blending of the two. Like it's not quite the same as seeing the plate out, in the deli counter, like of the food you might order, but it's maybe the next best thing.
I think too. I was going to add. Like, I think too. It's representative of one of the values of AR, which can be very, very transactional. Like in this case, it's a fantastic way to make a decision about something you want to eat, and then you can put it away and then eat the thing that you are trying to eat. And so it actually is a very quick and efficient experience to make an informed decision.
Yeah.
So Bobby, I've had this conversation with you and your team before, which is that Snap calls these lenses, whereas I think in our minds, many of us default to calling these experiences apps. We've grown very used to these containerized experiences that we're having on our mobile phones. Why is Snap so insistent on describing them as lenses, and what is the future of the lens?
I think for us, lenses speak to the fact that these really originate in the camera. I mean, so much of progress in augmented reality over many years now has really started from a place of, I think, creativity and really like amazing magical effects that happen in the camera. And so starting from that perspective and making sure that we're differentiating the fact that a lens is something that is unique to a camera and rendered in 3D space and with all this amazing technology. And then yes, absolutely, as we continue to grow the capabilities of our lens platform, I think more and more things will be possible through lenses, but I think it is important for us to differentiate early that this is something different than an app because of where it starts.
And is it also a way to differentiate from VR?
I think that's probably like a whole separate thing.
We're at the conference for it.
Sure. So. I have a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for all of the work that's happening in VR. Someone who grew up playing video games, I totally buy the value of totally immersing oneself in a totally new world. The reality is VR is a very, very heavy experience. It takes a lot of effort to get into it. You have to really want to. You have to make sure you have like nothing around you that you're going to touch. You have to kind of fiddle with a heavy device, and if it's tethered, kind of play with that. And really just like there's a ton of intent required to get into like a VR mindset, both physically and mentally. AR, we've found, is at its best when it's extremely lightweight, very, very accessible, and something that you can put on and take off like very easily. Actually, one of my first experience, like my aha moment with spectacles was when I played with the first prototype with the display was, someone from our team handed me the spectacles, put it on, ran through this scenario, and I took it off. And there was no fiddling with calibration, no, right. Does this fit? Does this, are you in the right environment? It just was like a very quick and easy, lightweight experience. And I think that's very in line with the value of AR, which is something that you bring with you out into the world and sits on top of your reality.
So it's hard to imagine being in the restaurant scenario and everyone just kind of taking their VR headsets out of their bags and being like, let's see what's on the menu now. And I'm being told that the video of Brielle's work is ready, so let's take a quick look at that, and we can get a sense of what that menu looks like as a lens if you have AR glasses on.
This particular project gives you a chance to view high-quality 3D scans of a meal on the table in front of you before you place your order. I was inspired to create this lens after going out to dinner and seeing that a lot of restaurants are having QR codes that people scan and they have the menus on their phone. It was like a light bulb went off. I was like, oh, this seems like a natural thing. I want to put my spectacles on and just view this menu right in front of me. And it really does help make a decision about what you want to order when the food literally looks like it's sitting there in front of you.
This looks really cool. Now I'm kind of hungry. Okay, and so what we're looking at now actually is a glimpse of Lens Studio, right? Which is the software that you're using that Snap built to build apps like that. One of the questions I have when I talk to both creators and the people who are running the platforms is around interoperability. Mm-hmm. If you build something, if you're committed to something like Lens Studio and building something for Lens, how portable is that to another platform, and how easily would the what you call the end user, people who are using the stuff, be able to just move seamlessly from like one platform to the next?
I think interoperability is really hard, especially on a deeper software level. All of these assets, these are FBX files, GLTF, they're portable to any platform, any modern platform. So in that sense, it's extremely portable. From a code sense, every platform is different. They may share JavaScript, but their approach to JavaScript is different, or they focus more on a certain type of coding or something. So that kind of interoperability is hard for everyone, I think. But the assets are portable and can go kind of anywhere.
So when you say it's hard for anybody, you mean as a developer, meaning you have to take those assets from... I
think as a developer, as someone building a platform, I think for Snap and other companies, that level of interoperability between compatibility and projects it's just a tough problem, and it's not always in everyone's best interest to bring all that together. But the assets are just infinitely portable, and yeah.
Bobby, how are you thinking about interoperability these days? When you look at Niantic, John Hankey spoke yesterday, what Microsoft is doing with Mesh, what Facebook is doing with Meta. Am I crazy to think that maybe all these companies aren't going to play nice with each other all the time?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question. I'll say, like, for us, at this moment in time, the first priority is our ability to innovate, and part of the reason that we're investing so heavily in for example, hardware, and is because we have an opportunity to control and really tinker with like every aspect of the experience, from hardware all the way through software, and like that control actually gives us a really remarkable ability to actually innovate and really kind of find the sweet spot amongst all these different constraints. And the same thing is true of mobile, where we can optimize the heck out of any of the algorithms that we're building and the tools that we're building, because it's all one seamless thing. That said, the last couple of years, we've done a lot of work, and we're continuing to invest pretty heavily in actually different forms of interoperability. Like we have, through Camera Kit, capacity for lenses to run in many different applications. We are working with a ton of companies now to either feed data and information into lenses, or feed lenses into their experiences. And so, it is absolutely very exciting to see what Niantic and other companies are doing in this space. And I think certainly as we continue developing, we'll look for ways to partner with them and figure out how lenses and these other AR experiences can work together.
What does that actually look like, though, for both of you? If you say you partner with a company like Niantic, like what eventually does that mean? How does someone experience that app or that lens?
Well, it's actually, the thing is, it's hard to say now, because we're probably at less than 1% of the total potential, over the next couple of decades of AR. And so at this point in time, it feels like the most important value for anybody who's operating in this ecosystem to provide is to actually just help people get interested and involved in augmented reality, to kind of see the value in it, create an experiment with AR experiences. And as that starts to happen, as more and more businesses realize that they can create these like highly differentiated customer experiences, as new companies form, old companies get involved, I think that's when the demand around the edges of like, okay, if I've built something for one company, how do I make sure that that also works? Like, then those problems become much easier to solve when you have concrete examples of how they need to connect versus trying to decide early when very few companies are really fully invested in augmented reality.
Yes, I get that it's early, but also people are really creating they're laying the groundwork right now for what this is going to look like, right? So like, I'm kind of wondering what both of you, what your pie in the sky ideas are for like how we eventually experience these lenses and apps in a more fully formed metaverse.
I want to see lenses everywhere. I want to be able to take the stuff I'm building in Lens Studio and can I use these lens effects on my Pokemon in Pokemon Go? Or I think there's value in just bringing, because Lens Studio is such a wonderful development platform. For me, it's so fast. Like, I'll see something's trending on Twitter, and I'm like, oh, I want to make a meme lens of that. I can make it in an hour and ship it, and people are using it before the moment has passed. And being able to use that kind of like development tool to bring these types of experiences into other platforms and applications would be my dream as a developer.
That's pretty remarkable that you can do that quickly too.
It's a great platform and an amazing tool, and I think Lens Studio is the real like secret sauce behind Snap's platform and for spectacles. Like, I've made a number of spectacles experiences where I took an old project that I made 2018, open it, check a box, and it's running on spectacles. And it's like that kind of backwards compatibility and just that kind of platform isn't matched by anything else on the market. Like, that kind of power to prototype and iterate quickly with Lens Studio is just magical.
And eventually that becomes a commerce platform too, right? I mean, these applications, lenses, experiences are going to be monetized. There are likely going to be ads in the metaverse. It's almost certain. And we even saw in Facebook's demonstration last week, its virtual demonstration of its vision of the metaverse, someone standing at a virtual vending machine and seeing like an NFT for purchase and virtual merch. Some of you may have watched this. So when you think about how this digital world is going to be monetized, what does that look like? And what would you say has been your biggest learning from, if this is the successor to the mobile internet, what's been your biggest learning in how things are monetized now that you think should be different in this future world that we're talking about?
I think the main thing is, well, first I'll say like there are a ton of like really amazing branded experiences which we've seen reach a ton of engagement, even more so than many of our kind of organic lenses. Brielle's worked on behalf of many companies to do some amazing stuff. So I think like the idea that like you can engage with characters and products and services that you really care about and really resonate with you as a person, like that's actually a fantastic use case for augmented reality. So to your point, like yes, we definitely know that probably some form of sponsored AR advertising in this in the years to come will exist as a form of monetization in AR, but I don't think that will be the only and maybe not even the primary way that monetization happens. We're seeing some interesting development, like you mentioned, around NFTs. I think through commerce, we're seeing a real value in AR facilitating transactions, helping people make decisions about products they want to buy. So I think like AR is such a big space that I imagine that there will be many different ways that people find ways to build businesses and many different ways that to reach customers and monetize their experiences. And so our job as a company is, as we continue adding capabilities and growing our Lens platform, is to make sure that we are kind of open to and enabling a wide range of opportunities for Lens creators.
Right, because it seems like there's this distinction between using augmented reality to spur purchases of physical goods versus the emerging market for virtual goods that we're seeing right now. Like, there was a period of time where I swear every AR app demo I went to, they were like, and here's where you place the sofa. And I was like, my dude, how many sofas do you think I buy per year? I buy one like once every 7 years, if that, or whatnot. And so there would be these like kind of limited experiences of like how many physical goods we're actually going to gain understanding around in the virtual world. But this market for NFTs and other digital assets is so interesting. I mean, do you think this is a fad, or is this here to stay?
I don't know. What's your
I'm keeping an eye on it. There's a lot of good questions being asked about like things that we need to address about environmental impact of certain blockchain technologies,
Yep.
and can we address that and bring more value to what the technology underlying these tokens can provide. Because I do believe there's value in blockchain technology. I think there's some very interesting potential uses, and I'm excited to see where, like, what we can come up with in the future. I don't think this current craze we're seeing right now is necessarily exactly it, but I'm looking forward to what are we working on next? How can we really push this technology, and can we address some of the real world concerns that we do have about specific blockchain technology?
When you say you don't know if this is it right now, do you mean specifically NFTs?
Specifically, like art NFTs, that essentially the token is a JSON linked to a JPEG. That there's a lot of talk about future interoperability, and I think a lot of that is possible. These current ones don't do that, and I'm looking forward to the next phase of when this interoperability really starts to take hold, like it starts being built into platforms, and we start to really see the use cases behind it. And I think that's where we start to really get value in NFTs outside of like just what people are wanting to spend for them right now.
Right, or claiming ownership of the asset, right?
Yeah.
That's fascinating. I think our time is up, but I did want to quickly ask you about the Lens Fest that Snap has coming up. This is an event coming up in just a few weeks. Bobby, give everyone a quick preview of what they can expect. Tell us all the news today, basically. What can they expect to hear from Snap in the coming weeks?
Yeah, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but at Lens Fest is our annual event where we unveil a lot of new features and celebrate kind of the success of our community. So yeah, we have a lot of very exciting features that we will announce, a lot of new capabilities that I think will start to really accelerate the scale of adoption and just the power of lenses to do a lot of things. So yeah, we're very, very excited about what's coming.
And Brielle, will you be there?
I will.
Excellent.
I'm excited.
All right, great. I look forward to seeing what you build. Thanks. And thanks so much to both of you for your time. And thanks to everyone for listening.
Thank you.